Let's start the second bonding together. Once we sit it, we spray it together. Okay, thank you very much for your attendance today. We are in the meeting number 11. Yes. Oh, okay. Please let him know that he needs to report, self-report his presence and upload the letter from the doctor or from his guardian. Based on the presence list, today's meeting will be about humans' cognition and memory. Actually, this is a quite something that is really out of our discipline. So we learned informatics in this department, but specifically this topic we really kind of talk about totally psychological issues. I have a several. Actually, this is more like academic journal. So when I want to understand about the nature of human being with respect to the interactions, I read this. I read this journal. So if you want to take a look, just take some glance. If you want to put it here, that's necessary. So the issues of humans' cognition and memory is quite intricate. There are a lot of problems that haven't yet been solved by researchers, and the reason simply because human being is the nature of human being is very dynamic, not dynamic, more like the variability is too much. It's very high. And that's why I believe the research in human computer interaction especially will not come into any end. So there is a lot of things that we can discover. And the good things is we are now in the era of a digital world. We experienced ourselves that many aspects, many business processes in our daily life were moved from the just constrained to the physical activity. Now is to moved or migrated to the digital realm, right? And thus, it is very necessary for the developers of this solution to consider about the human component, because all in all, this human being will, and in the end, will need to interact with something that is non-natural, and this is the computer that we refer to. So in addition to understanding about how your solution should behave, the importance, the signifier that you should provide in your digital products, there's the counterparts. Another thing that you need to always remember, the human side, that you also need to understand. So you do not only need to understand how is the computer as a technology helping the users. I believe that throughout this not throughout this semester, up to the last meeting, we have discussed a lot of issues and developed solutions in the problem domains that we choose. But however, in many of those cases, we are kind of still focusing on how to present the solutions. We haven't yet put really so much attention in how the human being will should be uh, researched. Okay. And here, I think it's gonna be the first time we talk about this. But the good thing is, I think the information that you will see in this presentation in today's discussion is not something that's difficult. Because you as a human, you will realize that yes, this is me. So there's nothing's new, nothing's new in the despite the references that I use that I will present today, based on the if you see on our learning plan, in the meeting 11 when we learn about this cognitive and memory, our primary book is the second primary reference, chapter number 3, which is this book. This book is published in 2015. It's even though it's 9 years old already, but still considered new for reference book. And here you may go to the chapter number 3, when this book talks about the human factors. So human factors. So those are the things. In these human factors, you will be there's kind of a bridging. So this diagram, I believe that is quite related to the feedback cycle that we learned from the Norman's feedback cycle. Just part of it. We kind of extract from one of the element in the feedback cycle and try to break that down in more details. And especially this is in the part of evaluation. In the evaluation, I believe that you remember that there's a perceive, right? Perceive and yet there are two remaining processes, but basically those processes are done with, of course, the help or the participatory of this human factor. So I would not review this chapter in very detail. So I believe that it's going to be easier or better for you to read it yourself. So it's just for you. It's going to be for your reading comprehension. I'm sorry, reading assignment. Just read this for ourselves. Or if you think that this is too much, and I actually, it's still fine if you just neglect this just for now, because usually you will need to dig deep into this topic when you really want to do some HCI research. So when you want to do, you want to pursue your master degree and really dig deep in, try to delve into the realm of psychology. But for now, just for your light reading, there is no formulas in there, so there will be not kind of intimidating reading materials, I believe. Okay, and the other references based on our learning plan, this one is the video by this Udacity. So by this guy, hopefully you still remember this guy. So we watched together the videos last week, and actually I asked you to also to check this one, right? Task analysis, and especially so that later you can design proper features in your solution. You cannot offer appropriate solutions if you cannot design your task for your users very well. I would like to see you presenting that also today and give you some feedback. Okay? So hopefully that you got something. And the doodles are really exciting. I look forward to your doodles, guys. I haven't yet received any mesmerized, any sophisticated doodles from you. These are very important don't underestimate Doodle. Doodle really helpful, will be really helpful for your product development or solution development. Okay, to start with, now this is actually the topics of human factor will be separated into two issues. The today's discussion will be more about how you uh, kind of learning the human factors that support the evaluation part. So from that feedback cycle, hope you still remember that you have something from the environment to the mind, to the user's mind, which is the goal of evaluation, right? So in this goal evaluation, you will need to understand about the perception and then the evaluation, the comparison and the evaluation itself. Okay. And then the second part of this human factor is it will be covered in meeting number 12. In this meeting, we will specifically talk about the goal of execution. In here, the motoric aspects of the human being is it takes a very important role. And we'll talk about that in more specific next week. So these 2 weeks more like psychology and more biology and physiology, psychology, physiology, and biology. But I don't think that I will need to dig deep really into the biology. Let's just focus on how these human factors support the human-computer interaction, and finally support the way you design your solutions for your final project, especially. Okay, and then this is to remind you that we will have a quiz in week 14. So I designed that we will have I'm sorry, 15. So this is during, so the quiz and the final project will be at the same week, okay? So for the rest, like this week, and then the next upcoming 3 weeks will be discussion about some materials, and then we would like to connect those topics, those materials with your final project. By doing this, I hope that you can learn something. You can connect the dots from your what you want to offer in your final project with the ones that we learn from the references. Okay. Now, before I move and giving you an opportunity to present your work, let's watch the videos. Just gonna open this, and then later you may rewatch this, but I believe having this as a starter is a very good idea. So let's check this. Going to repress this. Oh wait, something wrong with the audio recording. Give me one. All right, so let's see. Let's per his explanation about human abilities. So we learned that we in this video we will learn that we will try to put the human as the computer. Back then, in our previous discussions in those previous 10 meetings, we focused on how to understand how is the behavior of the computers, the input, the processing, the processing mechanism in the computers, and then the output mechanism. And now we are trying to understand the same aspects, but from the perspective of human being. Right. So, and we have three parts that we would like you to learn in this matter: input, processing, and then the output. I'll start with the input. Uh, do you still remember about the five senses? Have I told you about five senses? Five sensors in our body. Panca indera. Have I mentioned that before in the class? You don't remember. I also forgot. So sorry. So let's see. Suppose that we have not suppose we actually have that. Did I mention previously about maybe if I mention this, maybe you can give me an answer about a balance system, proprioception. No, so it's in another class. I'm sorry, I mixed my memory. So we have five senses, right? The eyes, what else? The skin for touching, the ears for hearing the sound input. What else? We still have three. Tongue is for taste. Yes, good word. What is the last? Don't forget your nose. Yes, for the flavor. Right. Right. But by the way, I'm not surprised that when you start the five senses with the eyes and then continue with the okay, you mentioned about the skin. It's quite surprising by the way. Actually, the second dominant sense supposed to be the ears for the hearing. So when we talk about human being, we our input is about almost 80% is visual. So something that comes to our eyes. So that the things that come in through our eyes are the reality that we perceive today. Majority of the reality components that we perceive. And the second, the dominant aspect is the ears. Okay, the sound. It earns or it occupies about 10 up to 11%. And the rest will be from the pouch. And here we call it haptic. So it's haptic. So it's a visual, auditory, and the haptic. So far, our computer technology can only provide and receive these three senses. Agree? Do you have any computer devices or maybe some technology, computer technology that support flavor? Maybe it's yes, but it's just still in the research phase. I mean, it's not mass produced, but we cannot find in the market, in the mass market. And for the tongue, for the taste, not yet. And you may want. I think you are also not kind of surprised with this fact because providing, for example, for the flavor, yes, for the flavor, for the nose to smell something. The sensors inside the nose is kind of the nostril inside the nose is kind of try to is that absorb? Is that the good word? So basically, the gas that coming in through our nose consists of chemical substances, and those chemical substances are automatically is recognized by our nostrils. But so far, we do not have any good mechanisms from the physics of the physics world that can, or from the chemical engineering world, from that one that can perfectly mimic the way our nose perceive the flavor. So far, some of researchers in Japan they have successfully perceived, but just some of them, the dominant one or and whatsoever. The same thing with the the taste, because the taste is also kind of catching it. At first, the input or the sense need to catch the chemical substance, and I believe that there should be some chemical reaction as well. In my opinion, I'm not quite sure. I need to check physiologically, but I think that should be something happened in our tongue in that sensors that finally the sensors can recognize. Okay, this is sweet. This is salty, bitter. Okay, I will skip these three parts because I believe you understand what does it mean with the visual, auditory, and haptic. Let's check in here first. So this is more generic. Okay, so we have visuals, and then we have uh, what do you think? What the eyes can do? So with respect to the visuals, what stimuli and what information that eyes can offer to the community? Oh, yeah. What information the eyes can offer to us as a human being in our brain from our environment? With color. What else? Shape, yes. What visuals can do and can help. Talk about the interaction between human being and this environment. Yes, distance. Distance, depth of perception. Exactly. Very good. What else? One more thing, I think that is quite important, and we have that as well in our computer technology, in our computer vision. So when we talk about color, we have RGB camera, we have a depth camera, and we have pattern recognition, right? Something like that. Yeah, in the computer vision. Do we have something else? But basically, something that computer vision can do. Our eyes should be able to do so. And any idea? That is in this video, by the way. But I will not. I will just already summarize that, and you already can give me some very good answers for that. The last and yet quite important thing is our motion trackers. So eyes can also help us to track movement, right? Okay. Now speaking about auditory, what our ears can do. Loudness, voice, pitch. What? Can you measure distance using your ear? Can you? Loudness. Through the loudness. Makes sense. So if something is like far away, it's going to be exactly. And the same thing actually, we can also track motion through our hearing, right? So the change of frequency through that Doppler effect. I think that's also helpful. So even though we close our eyes, we can detect some motion through that change in the voice. And what was the tone? I think was closer. The tone is like color to eyes, right? The tone is like color to eyes. Well, okay. So you can you may imagine that there are many things that, and if you want to check want to see the details, you can check this video. A very short video. I don't think that you will get some burden of finishing this playlist. Actually, this is just 1 or 2 minutes video for it. So if you have some time already, if you kind of need something to kill, I mean, killing time during your commute. I don't know. How do you come to university campus? By car? Motorcycle? Motorcycle. Well, it's quite hard to see the videos doing while driving the motorcycles. But maybe it's for some contents, I think it's still kind of like you can try it as an audiobook. You can hear some materials in my opinion, but I think you cannot do this in here because there's no like such moving up like automatically move to the next video. So yeah, anyway, I'm sorry, distraction. And last but not least, this is the one that's supported by computer technology, but of course our senses can do, just the touch of our skin, touch features to our skin is in interaction term, we call it haptic. Okay, the touch, the vibration, right? And what else? Temperature, maybe? Temperature. So it's very possible to play with the temperature using through our device. Humidity, still possible. So okay. Heartbeat. Wait, this is very good. Good, but listen to this. Here in today's discussion, we talk about something that human receive. So this haptic is something that comes out from even maybe I think it's even from the computer. So the machine gives you haptic, the machine gives you sound, the machine gives you visual through the display. If you talk about heart attack, it's the other way around. So like you are giving stimuli to the computer. So you can detect the heartbeat, you can detect the pulse, and many more, right? We get that sensors. I have this. Did I told you about this? So okay. Back then, EEG. So we can. This is called an answer. Sorry, my bad. English. EEG. It stands for. It's not here. Google it. EEG. Electroencephalography. Right? Cephalo is brain. Yeah. So it helps the computer to read our brainwave. Cephalogram, yes. Electrocephalogram, EEG. And this one also a good one. Not quite sure whether I have. I think maybe for my next human-computer interaction class, I will ask my students to explore these unique tools, some of devices that so far I cannot use it in the UX design, so it should be in a human-computer interaction class. This is called EMG, electromyography. Myo is muscle waves. Is that right? EMG. Did you find? Yeah, electromyography. So usually I put this in here, and then he can detect whether I like posing thumbs, or maybe I pointing somewhere or maybe I create a fist, this palm, or maybe I spread out my fingers. So the device can detect that. So without any visual aids. But again, these things, including your heartbeat issue, those things are actually stimuli from us, from human being that is captured by companies for their needs. And here we talk about the other way. Okay, let's see this direct. Maybe we can have some discussion here. So let's hear this design challenge. So what could be the solution for this?
The only thing I can think about is like vibrations because
But the vibration should only occur when the device is in the pocket, right? The situation, the restriction was that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Yes, that's the question. How does the phone know it's a design challenge?
through light like
Po-
brightness.
Possible. Possible.
Brightness, if the brightness is like really dark, it's going to
Yes. But then the trade-off is you need to turn on the camera always, right? Battery issues. But that's okay. That's okay. We talk about the design challenge. We keep the solution. So we just neglect about the technical feasibility. So that's one of the way. So the camera will kind of always turn on and then detect the brightness of the surrounding. What else is possible?
I think there's also like a sensor material. So we don't have to on the camera because
So in the device,
yeah, the device I can use something like that. It's a
Agreed. Agreed. But however, I believe that there's such thing, but we only have that in the front face of the device. We don't have that in here. So if the case is we put it like that, it works. It works. And we know it doesn't work. Because we expect that if we put it on the pocket, it will vibrate, right? So if we put it in the pocket, it gives the information that is dark using that sensor. In this situation, it's also dark. It will work if the phone is fixed.
maybe through the heat.
Through the heat, possible. Possible. So if we put it in the pocket, it should be fairly warmer compared to the one if we put it outside, right?
but it will fail when like the temperature is very strict.
Yes, especially when we are in outdoor. But if you see in the outdoor situation, I believe if the phone vibrated on the table, it won't disturb the people because the outdoor noise is quite strong.
Yeah, I guess so.
But maybe the only weakness is when we are indoor, yet it's hot. Then that's the only trade-off. It's still okay using temperature. So for the solution, we need to put some extra sensors in our device, right? So that the device will be sensitive to the temperature. Okay. By the way, that's design challenge. We can think in handling that. Thank you very much for your brilliant ideas. Now we are moving to the processing. So we talked about the input so far. Okay. Now we are moving to the processing. It starts with the perception. So when we talk about the brain, the memory in the brain, we have like three levels of persistency. The most temporal, and then like this is the medium one, and then the persistent, the most persistent. In psychological term, we have short-term memory. I believe that you have heard this before. Long-term memory, and this one is called a perceptual store. This is the most temporal one. This is psychological term. In computer, we have the same thing actually.
Yes.
What does that?
RAM.
So what RAM is supposed to be if we're putting the short term? Right? How is about long term? What is the equivalent in the SSD, the drives, right? This one we call it as a persistent drive, right?
Yes.
I believe that you have persistent peripheral or persistent memory of peripherals. And what is the things that is equivalent to the perceptual stuff?
The cache.
Yes, the cache. The cache. Those closest memory to the processor, right? The cache. So we have the same thing. In fact, computer actually was built based on the features in our human body. So the inspiration was from the human being. Also, let's hear this video. I think it's very beneficial to you. Yeah, he's cheating. Okay, so that's why our OTP is just 4 up to 5 digits. Yes, because that's the number that we can like try to remember in one time.
Can we put them as like one chunk instead of four? Instead.
Oh, good point. But then because the digit is, I think one digit is considered as a one chunk.
I guess it's because it's new and like you've never seen it before, so like
Ah, yeah,
maybe-
good point. Good point. It's a debatable then. Yeah, you are right. You are right. However, there's also another is in here, just this in the subtitles say that there was a popular idea that people could store 7 plus minus 2. Okay. So the longest one, I think 9 is like the maximum capability of humans being to kind of remember. Most of the do you use that one, the multi-factor authenticator, the Google Authenticator, MFA? How many digits are there? It is 6. You should activate that because otherwise you cannot use your Microsoft 365 ITS. Have you activated that?
Yeah.
You can use Google. That's okay. Okay. But yes, basically you should know about NFA already because otherwise you cannot open your student email. It's compulsory for the students to activate that before finally using the Microsoft 365 services subscribed by ITS. And if you compare, actually the so far is the best one is I think it's 6. 6 is the most popular one for the OTP, not OTP for that. What was that? The MFA. But uniquely, if you use the Microsoft version, Microsoft also uh, published the MFA tools called Microsoft Authenticator. They use 7 digits, but for me it's kind of a bit troublesome.
6.
6? Oh, right now it's 6. Okay. Well, back then it was 7. So they learned from the mistake. Okay. So 6 is I think is very, very good. And your PIN, your bank account PIN is also 6.
6.
What was that? Okay, you got the idea, right? So you're right. So because but by the way, in my opinion, still, one letter can also consider as a chunk because we cannot remember something if there's no like it's already in our dictionary, right? So it's like remembering puppy is still possible, but I don't think this works for us.
yeah,
This is one chunk. This is one chunk.
probably can be considered as one chunk because we have seen it a lot.
Yeah, we've seen it a lot. This one, right? No, I can't. At least. This one is also. So this one is still okay. This 4 because we can still play with the vocal, the consonants, right? So it's still okay. Right. Let's see the next one. It's supposed to be this and this, right? And this, not these 3. Because I try to remember this. So I still remember table. There's no stable table ends on it. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Please remember that. Ah, it's a good strategy for memorization. I still remember back then when I was not during the childhood, not during the my high school, but during my undergraduate study when I learned languages, especially. So we need to learn many vocabs, new vocabs, and programming languages. In programming languages, you need to. It's not necessary actually to memorize some of them, but back then it's necessary because I cannot use Google back then. But for you now, you have a lot of assistance. So the work of cognition, or not really cognition, kind of this the work of storing knowledge in your memory nowadays has become like perished. So it's no longer necessary because many of these tasks already distributed to digital assistants. Not really only digital assistants, but also digital applications. If you want to check the relevant or related topic with respect to the what I've just said, it is in distributed cognition. Try to check this. It's very cool because the history of us distribute our cognitions not was not started from the emergence of computer technology, not during, not after that, but even further in back in our history. And it was, at least I may say that it started when a human being discovered or found printing system. So we start to create books, like printing books, like etc. Back then, if like we take a look at uh, the Greek civilization and then Roman civilization, and maybe during still like for example the Prophet Muhammad in that era, the way people memorize, the way people learn something is by memorizing it. There's no way, no other way except like coming and visit your teacher, listen to what he is saying, and then you try to memorize that. Because there's a limited medium for you to store that knowledge, right? There were like I believe that you heard about I don't know what was that tablet, like the tablet of the Ten Commandments is also. I think that's also part of the story when the human being tried to distribute their cognition to devices, but this device is not always or doesn't have to be a digital device. You start back then even from the era of Moses when he received that Ten Commandments in the tablet. That tablet is also part of technology that help users to distribute their cognition. You can learn from here. The sad truth is everything that we have right now, let's say everything that we do, everything that we process in our daily tasks and our daily life is always stored in some physical or digital artifacts. It's like we have no burden at all to memorize anything about ourselves even. And that is the fact. By knowing this, it's also I believe that it's going to be very helpful you to also understand. So also when you try to design the solution for your problem domain. Okay, going back to here, maybe wait, maybe I'm just gonna keep this for the next week. So cognition is part of the comparison and evaluation. So you try to check what you've just perceived and what you've just learned or what you have stored your previous experience, your past experience in your either uh, short-term memory or the long-term memory. That is called cognition. So for example, you attend midterm exams of any courses in this department in your study program, and then you answered several questions, multiple questions. Some of them, maybe you forget the exact details of what the string of the answer. But since you remember some of them and you put it in the short term, you just read it just right before you enter the classroom, and then you can answer that. It's also part of your cognition. And that's why exam quiz is called cognitive action. Cognitive action. It is to measure your cognitive skills. If you in your daily life always using computers to store everything about your life, then you may kind of experience kind of a bit weak. So for the way the good way for you to increase or maintain your cognitive ability is by I think more like moving your daily habits, daily activities to the physical world instead of just rely on the digital artifacts. That's one of takeaway that I think we can take as lessons from this topic. Okay, I'll keep this for our next week meeting. Now I would like you to help me presenting or tell me reporting your progress of the final project. Can we start with I don't know how many teams there here? I know that we have 3 teams.
There's two currently available.
Only 2 teams.
Them and me.
Okay. So I think we're first.
To be honest, sir, since last week, me and Fazer haven't touched the progress again. So
Oh no. Oh. Well, promise me you should make some progress, significant progress for
yeah,
for next week. Okay. Well, there's a sad truth. Okay. Now, how is about you guys? You guys 3, you have 3 members in your team. Come on, give me good news. So it was about helmet. I remember that fabulous Gojek helmet. So how is that? Any progress? Okay. All right. I give you an opportunity. I give you a chance. Let's say 15 minutes. Try to do something now. Try to improve what you try to improve your progression. Okay. So maybe talk with your teammates. Mira, you talk with yourself.
Yeah.
Or you can I don't think you can bother Fauzan because he's sick now, right?
Yeah.
So you just try to work on yourself. I will ask you again in 15 minutes. Sure. Join the Zoom.
But there's kind of stuff.
You just join without audio, okay? As usual. Right. Yes.
And we came for the
Oh, sorry. Just fix this. Okay, go ahead. Okay. What did you get?
we cannot understand the sayings. I forgot
Good job. Good. Oh yeah. Digital twin, right?
Huh?
Digital twin.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of changes because well, the first 10 minutes I'm just going to the mirror. So for the last 5 minutes, I'm just gonna add another option. For example, the air conditioner, there's more settings that you can do. So before we can change the temperature, now you can change the fan speed, the swing of the AC, and then there's sleep mode and then sun mode, which means in the night mode it gives not a lot of coldness, and the sun mode it gives hot air. And the room level is gonna add RGB because mostly in this generation lamp can be changed in colors.
Oh,
Yeah,
just your, I think just your phone.
yeah.
Mine is not yet. Okay, that's okay. So
And the TV I'm just gonna add a volume button and then there is a brightness button. So, yeah. That's all.
all right. I give you some ideas to expand this two-dimensional or this kind of exocentric or God's view of a digital twin at your home. I suggest you to also explore the spatial interface for this scenario, assuming that you will utilize technologies such as AR, augmented reality. So you should be able to use your camera and just from distance point out that, okay, this is the light, it's just want to control. You can just directly direct that to that light and then give the user something to control on the screen.
So I point my phone to the left and then
Yes. Provide, how can we achieve that? Build that scenario. Okay. So I may say that that's kind of the egocentric interaction. This one is exocentric. So it's like the God's view. But I don't think everyone's convenient with the God's view. perspective. Maybe you should also provide a perspective of view, just like I said. The first view, activating camera and doing some magic. Superpower. Have superpower to control everything's house, but in distance. It's not necessary for me to achieve, to reach the switches, for example. But with that, just the comfort of your fingers.
Like I open the camera, I put it at the left, and then it shows the things that I can.
Yes, but you should like tell us the complete scenario. How can we achieve that? I believe that there should be something, at least, for example, some computer vision thingy, or maybe you have a better idea, have some proximity sensor or whatsoever. So that the mobile device can recognize those as things and, oh, okay, I know that it's a lamp A, and lamp A is these buttons. So this button, if I press this, it will communicate to the server will tell this lamp A to behave as such. Okay. Three Musketeers. Go ahead.
Should we join this one?
Yes, please. Do not need to join the Zoom. Sorry, do not need to join the audio. See,
Recording in progress.
leave the audio and say it. Panic. Cool. My Gojek helmet. Okay.
Okay, so we have made several changes to our HUD based on your feedback last meeting. So the first one is the battery indicator. See, we now use a bar for it. So when it's close to full, it's green, and when it's so this is like an indicator. We also took some inspiration from the arrow direction as you mentioned last week, that to look at how Google uses its arrow. We haven't yet to delve into the deeper part, like how do they decide certain arrow, but this approximately like how it uses how Google uses its arrow. And then next one is the microphone that shows up when the user speaks to the devices or the AI to indicate. I think is it. We have yet to do the goals. I
You also need to do the
sometimes
goals. Don't
we
forget the
need more
goals.
time to do it.
Goal, objective.
But that, so this our so yeah, I think only the goals. Like,
Okay. Oh.
this is like you still get not finishing it, but from driving, I think there's only two options to use. So the first one is to use the voice or using the apps, something to navigate. When using voices, though, we still need to discuss more how do the AI recognize, like for example, because it's for Gojek, right? So the Gojek can talk to the passenger or something. So how can we make the AI recognize that the speech is for the AI or for the so that's our idea. So we have yet to then talk further. Okay.
Try to find references to support that, to inspire you. Okay, first comment. I'll start here. And scroll it up. I saw something peculiar. Not to give you some. Okay, do you think the visual on the right side with that so much precision is better than the ones that you have on the left. What's your opinion?
I think it's better just to have estimation because
So you are on the left.
yeah, on the left. And it's better to use like a bar to make it easy because user is actually writing, so you don't have to be focused on accurate.
Great. I also on the same side. So we are not using device that require precision, just like mobile phone maybe yes. And we have quite sometimes to spend our visual attention to our phones. So it's okay to have that so much detail for the battery percentage. But for your dashboard or something that is not really require that precision, the left side, this idea is more plausible in my opinion. So you should go with this. I think in your current design is already
Yeah,
like
we,
this. Great.
we
Okay. Second comment. Basically you cannot put too many items in your HUD. HUD is
we forgot to mention that the HDR only appear when it's needed.
okay. Then
So
can you
it's
just separate those? Stop making this secret because I was it's this is I misunderstood. Okay. And you need to kind of really try to
It's my first time
think about so this icon should appear on the top left, top right, bottom left, or bottom right. So there are several things we need to consider. First one, heat map. So you may need to find some reference. If we talk about HUD, from those four corners, which one is the hottest one? Like the ones that many people will pay attention more. Top one, top view, or the bottom? Top view. I think it's top view, right? I also think the same. How about you? And same. Yeah, I think so. If the thing is like less important, don't put it on the top side. Like for example, battery. Are you going to spare the battery? Battery life? Throughout yes, throughout your experience, and it's not that you put it on that. For example. Okay. And I think if we talk about okay, the question is top whether it's top or bottom, the answer will be top is dominant. Now we have a right, left, and center. What do you think? Which one's the hottest?
In my opinion, it's left. The most important.
Really?
I don't know.
I give you the third option. Center. Don't you think? I don't know. Yeah. Actually, that's also my very frank guess. But still, I think center is still.
For example, we use the
You need to check the reference. So, like, what is the most important visual cue in this scenario? The direction.
Yeah.
The direction, right? So that direction should not appear on the bottom right. The bottom is less preferred, right? Top is better. You agree already? Okay. And then we talk about left, right, or center. I assume that the correct answer is center. If that is the correct answer, then your direction cue should appear on the top center. Understand? So maybe next week I will explain. No, next 2 weeks I will explain to you about the partial guidance. Something that kind of is a subconscious process in our human body. The way we see something, our psychology with respect to the visual signaling. I will explain about that in more detail next. Hopefully that will benefit the information design strategy on them. Okay, thank you very much, guys. See you next week. You're